You can start with Mataji.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 37. Maitreya Uvacha Svasargasya Samlokya Asasanam Pravepatim Nivritta Sandhya Niyamo Bharyam Aha Prajapatihi.
Maitreya said, the great sage Kashyapa must address his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers. Yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world.
Text 38. Kashyapa Uvacha Aprayatyad Atmanaste Doshanmauhurtikad Uta Mannideshati Charena Devanam Chati Helana.
The learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of a particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Bhuta Prabhuji, we cannot hear you properly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can. So it comes and it goes. So please, Prabhuji.
Okay, I'll repeat. The learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious.
Text 39. Bhavishyatastabha bhadrao abhadre jatharadhamao lokan sapalam strims chandi muhur akranadasyastataha.
O haughty one, you will have two contemptuous sons born of your condemned womb. Unlucky woman, they will cause constant lamentation to all the three worlds.
Text 40. Praninam hanyamananam dinanam akratagasam strinam nighriyamananam kopiteshu mahatmasu.
They will kill poor, faultless living entities, torture women, and enrage the great souls.
Text 41. Tada vishveswara kruddho bhagavalloka bhavanaha hanishyati avatiryasau yathadrin sataparvadrak.
At what time the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all living entities, will descend and kill them, just as Indra smashes the mountains with his thunderbolts.
Text 42. Ditiruvacha vadham bhagavata sakshat sunabhodara bhahuna asase putrayor mahyam ma kruddhat brahmanat prabhu.
Diti said, "It is very good that my sons will be magnanimously killed by the arms of the personality of Godhead with his Sudarshana weapon. O my husband, may they never be killed by the wrath of the Brahmana devotees."
Text 43. Na brahma danda dagdhasya na bhuta bhayadasya cha na rakshaschanugrhananti yam yam yonim asaugataha.
A person who is condemned by a Brahmana or is always fearful to other living entities is not favored either by those who are already in hell or by those in the species in which he is born.
Text 44 to 45. Kashyapa uvacha कृतापेन सद्या प्रत्यवमर्शनात् भगवती उरुमनाच्च भवे मायपि चादरात् पुत्रस्यैव च पुत्राणां भवितैकसतां मतः गच्छन्ति यद् यशः शुद्धं भगवद् यशसा समाम्.
The learned Kashyapa said, because of your lamentation, penitence, and proper deliberation, and also because of your unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your adoration for Lord Shiva and me, one of the sons, Prahlada, of your son Hiranyakashipu, will be an approved devotee of the Lord, and his fame will be broadcast equally with that of the personality of Godhead.
Text 46. Yogairhe meva durvarnam bhavisyanti sadhavaha nirvairadhibir atmanam yachilam anuvartitam.
In order to follow in his footsteps, saintly persons will try to emulate his character by practicing freedom from animosity, just as the purifying processes rectify gold of inferior quality.
Text 47. Yat prasadat idam vishwam prasidati yat atmakam sasvadrag bhagavan asya toshyate ananyaya darsha.
Everyone will be pleased with him because the personality of Godhead, the supreme controller of the universe, is always satisfied with a devotee who does not wish for anything beyond him.
Text 48. Savai Mahabhagavato Mahatma Mahanubhavo Mahatam Mahishtata Pravruddha Bhaktya Hi Anubhavitasya Nivesya Vaikuntham Imam Vihasyati.
The topmost devotee of the Lord will have expanded intelligence and expanded influence and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to matured devotional service, he will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world.
Text 49. Alam patah siladharo gunakaro Rishtarardhya Vayathito Dukhitesu Adbhuta Satrur Jagata Sokaharta Naidaghikam Tapam Ivo Durajaha.
He will be a virtuously qualified reservoir of all good qualities. He will be jolly and happy in others' happiness, distressed in others' distress, and will have no enemies. He will be a destroyer of the lamentation of all the universes, like the pleasant moon after the summer sun.
Text 50. Antarvahishchamalam abjanetram swapurushe chanugarhita rupam potrastava srilananalalam drashta sfurat kundala manditanam.
Your grandson will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose wife is the beautiful goddess of fortune. The Lord can assume the form desired by the devotee, and his face is always beautifully decorated with earrings.
Text 51. Maitreya uvacha shrutva bhagavatam putram amodata ditir bhrasham putrayoscha vidham krishnat vidivasim mahamanaha.
The sage Maitreya said, hearing that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons would be killed by Krishna, Diti was highly pleased in mind. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Ansuya Mataji and Purta Prabhuji, for wonderful recitation. Try to share the screen. Okay, are
Thank you.
the PowerPoint slides visible and am I audible?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. My humble obeisances to everyone. We'll recite the prayers and Mangalacharan prayers, and then we can discuss today's verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणम् परमानंद माधवं कृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी सतां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीर्यसंविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्णरसायना कथाः तज्जोषनादाश्वपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति। ॐ तत्सत्। Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances to all the devotees and seek your blessings so we can discuss today's verses for my purification. So, Canto 3, Chapter 14, today's verses are 37 to 40. And in this 5 verses, actually till 20, verse 41, the one theme that is Kashyapa's predictions. So, just to get a recap of this chapter, chapter 14 so far, in the beginning, Vidura asked Maitreya Muni about the fight between Hiranyaksha and Varahadev. Because in previous chapter 13, Maitreya Muni had combined description of Shvetavaraha and Raktavaraha. So Vidura became curious to know the activities of Rakta or Neelavaraha, who killed Hiranyaksh in the 6th Manvantara, Chakshusha Manvantara. He killed Hiranyaksh and not only just retrieved the earth. So in response to this, Maitreya Muni described the past history of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh, who were the sons of Diti and Kashyapa. So, daughter of Daksha, Diti, she once went to Kashyapa Muni and forced to have a child immediately because her co-wives had children and they were all mothers. And also, she gave several reasons we saw, and Kashyapa discouraged her by giving many reasons as well. In previous verses, we saw that, and he said that she should wait for appropriate time as Lord Shiva is moving about at this time with ghosts and all. But Diti did not listen to good counsel, and Kashyapa Muni, as we know, was not strong to restrain himself, and he gave in due to weakness of heart. So after this, all the verses that follow, we know that Diti became very regretful. And in 32nd verse, it said that Kashyapa then bathed and he sat down to chant his evening Sandhya Gayatri. And Diti becomes very ashamed. She comes in front of Kashyapa Muni and she will bend her head low. She feels very guilty. And sorry, from 34 to 36 shlokas, she said, let Rudra not destroy my embryo, and may Shiva, who is merciful to all women, be pleased with me. So thereafter, after Diti goes to Kashyapa, then that is our verse today. From here we start, verse 37. Maitreya Uvacha Swasarg स्वसर्गस्याशिषं लोक्याम् आशासानां प्रवेपतिं निवृत्तसन्ध्यानियमो भार्याम् आह प्रजापतिम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maitreya said, the great sage Kashyapa thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers, yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world. So that is verse 37. So she comes in front of Kashyapa Muni, even though he is offering his Sandhya Gayatri, because she is feeling very bad, very guilty for having made this mistake. And now Kashyapa speaks to Diti in the next verse. So verse 37 has no purport. Verse 38, Kashyapa Uvacha अप्रायत्याद् आत्मनस्ते दोषान् मौहूर्तिकादुत मन्निदेशातिचारेण देवानां चातिहेलनात्. The learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious. So, in this verse, okay, there is a purport we will read and then discuss. Any volunteers wants to read?
Can I read it, Mataji?
Yes, Shipra Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The
Hare.
condition for having good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religious and regulatory principles, and the wife should be faithful to the husband. In Bhagavad Gita 7.11, it is said that sexual intercourse according to religious principles is a representation of Krishna consciousness. Before engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and the wife must consider their mental condition, the particular time, the husband's direction, and obedience to the demigods. According to Vedic society, there is a suitable auspicious time for sex life, which is called the time for Garbhadhana. Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injunction, and therefore, although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of a Brahmana. There is a clear indication herein that Brahmana's son is not always a Brahmana. Personalities like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were actually born of Brahmanas, but they were not accepted as Brahmanas because their fathers did not follow the regulatory principles for their birth. Such children are called demons and Rakshasas. There were only one or two Rakshasas in the previous ages due to negligence of the disciplinary methods. But during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. How? Then can one expect good children? Certainly, unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society, but through the Krishna consciousness movement, they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of God. That is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. So here we remember discussing this in the previous session about verse 7.11, where we had discussed that when parents are in proper consciousness, they are actually doing service by giving conditioned souls chance to take a human birth, and then by proper upbringing, they can lead a Krishna conscious life with virtues and good qualities, and thus stand a very good chance on progress towards going back to Godhead. And again, here it says how Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injunction, and therefore she was very anxious. And now she is informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of Brahmana. And here in verse 38, we can see like in four lines here of each verse, each line, Kashyapa is saying, first thing, the problem he is saying to Diti, because he is speaking to Diti when she comes feeling so guilty that everything was inauspicious because of your aprayatyad atmanaste, means because of your mind's pollution. Then the second problem was defilement of time. Doshan muhurtikat, means the muhurta was wrong. It was not an appropriate time. Again, she violated this instruction of Kashyapa Muni. The third thing was the problem was negligence of Kashyapa's instructions. Nideshati charena, man nideshati charena. And the fourth thing was apathy towards demigod. She violated the authorities of the Devatas, Devanam Ati Helanat. So all these things happened, and here thus we can see that everything will be now inauspicious as Kashyapa Muni is saying here, everything will be inauspicious because of these four things. So lack of mind control will only bring to inauspiciousness. And we also know there is example of Sati. We had seen last time also that Sati wanted to go to her father's sacrifice. But Lord Shiva gives so many examples and so many things he tells her that why she should not go because of the consciousness of Daksha. We should not go to a host house who is angry with us or who is feeling envious towards us. Then he says, don't go. And it will only create inauspiciousness. But Sati went and then she lost her life. Actually, when she goes there, she repeats the words of Lord Shiva. Everything that my husband was saying was so true, she says. And then Lord Shiva had to send Veerabhadra who then killed Daksha. And because of Sati disobeying the instructions of Shiva, there was no auspiciousness. So basically, there is a lesson here that when we violate instructions of superiors, either out of our here Sati was quite innocent with for her love towards her father, mother, and siblings. She thought that no, they will be fine with me, but sometimes people violate instructions due to either ignorance or arrogance or they think they are right. So out of self-righteousness, then it will all lead to inauspiciousness. So here, this is the example of Diti here. That same thing is happening to her. That two demons will be born as sons, and also this is also very good a lesson for. Also, this can be um, yeah, also a lesson for practicing devotees or sadhakas. At my level, I can say that trying sincerely, because there are so many shortcomings in us. We are not perfect. That's why, because if someone was perfect, they would not be here on earthly planet, basically. So we are struggling, and but we are sincerely trying to in our bhakti journey. So it's very good principle here to be applied, that in relationship with our spiritually elevated personalities, we should always listen to them, obey their orders and authority. For example, our Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, elders, our well-wishers, we should not violate their instructions. So one lesson comes from here. And in the purport also, Srila Prabhupada says that through the Krishna consciousness movement, they can be raised to human standard by chanting. This is the Sankirtana movement, is the boon in Kali Yuga, as we know, chanting the holy names of the God, and that is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society. And Kashyapa could not control his mind. He was very mild at that time. There was weakness of heart, but as opposed to that, we can see that with Thakur Haridas. This is also in the purport of 31st verse in this chapter I was reading, that Thakur Haridas was tempted by a public prostitute at the dead of night. He avoided the allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and others. Kashyapa Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life. Yet he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. Thakur Haridas was not born of a Brahmana family, nor was he himself a Brahmana, yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to his being Krishna conscious. Thakur Haridas used to chant the holy names of the Lord 300,000 times daily. So, completely in sync with what Srila Prabhupada is saying is that this standard, even in human society, of purification can be raised by chanting of the holy name of the God. So when I was reading this, and then I was reading verse 38, it reminded me to go back and read the purport of 31. As I remembered reading this, that it is so true, as Srila Prabhupada says, that this is the only way to, control the mind and purify the mind. Because even if there are children, if we tell them, don't sit all the time watch TV or don't look at mobile, but we need to give them something better to do as well. So we need to give them a higher taste, higher alternative, then they will not do the time wasting activity. In the same way, if we are chanting and our mind is absorbed in Shravanam and Pathanam, and Shravanam, Kirtanam, and other activities and services, then mind will be so occupied, it will not think of other things, and will be able to discriminate nicely. So I thought there was a nice lesson there, that to follow the instructions of the superiors, and we can apply it to the spiritual journey, and thus listen to the spiritually elevated personalities for our own benefit, so we can all rise in our journey. Verse 39, Bhavishyatastava Bhadra Abhadre Jatharadhamau Lokan Sapalam Strims Chandi Muhur Akrandayishyatah. Translation, Kashyapa Muni says, O haughty one, you will have two contemptuous sons born of your condemned womb. Unlucky woman, they will cause constant lamentation to all the three worlds. And purport, any volunteer?
I can read, Mataji.
Okay, sure, please. Thanks.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Contemptuous sons are born of the condemned womb of their mother. In Bhagavad Gita 1.40, it is said, when there is deliberate negligence of the regulative principles of religious life, the woman as a class become polluted, and as a result, there are unwanted children. This is especially true for boys. If the mother is not good, they cannot be good sons. The learned Kashyapa could foresee the character of the sons who would be born of the condemned womb of Diti. The womb was condemned because of the mothers being too sexually inclined and thus transgressing all laws and injunctions of the scriptures. In a society where such women are predominant, one should not expect good children. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, so here in verse 39, we can see that Kashyapa is saying that also in the purport says that you will have two contemptuous sons born of your condemned womb. An unlucky woman, they will cause constant lamentation to all the three worlds. So, from the translation, we can see here Kashyapa does not say to Diti that he did not say that Hiranyaksh or Hiranyakashipu, the two demon sons that they will be born, he did not say that they will cause lamentation to you. So Diti is safe, but the world is not safe. And now here the main point is that people who are from cultured society, they have no inclination to harm anyone, and one feels bad when they do some wrong actions, and they feel that it is fault on my side even if an ant is troubled. Thus, Diti noted that she is the cause of two sons who will torment the world. That is very painful to her also. We will see in coming verses that Diti feels very ashamed, guilty, bad, and she feels lot of pain that because of her wrong actions, these sons will be born, they will torment the world. There will be, as we know, that Maitreya Muni has to explain why there is darkness in the entire universe, even when they are not born. They are within the womb of Diti, and this is going to happen. So, here one more lesson comes out from this purport, and that is that if we see that Diti is a responsible daughter of a Prajapati Daksha, who is of such a great high position. And Diti is also a responsible wife of a great Prajapati Kashyapa. So when Diti made a mistake, it tormented the entire universe because her mistake gave birth to Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And on the other side, if we take example of Ajamil, we will see in coming cantos that Ajamil, he is an unknown Brahman. He is very low profile, and he also made a mistake. He associated with that bad lady, and it affected his life and his family only. But Diti's mistake affected life of so many people. So here we can understand that to the degree one is in greater position, to that degree one needs to be even more responsible in one's behavior, because their mistake or good activity will affect so many people, thousands of people. And say, for example, there is a citizen. If he makes a small mistake, okay, the consequences will be smaller. But if a king makes a mistake, then hundreds, thousands, so many citizens and even other kingdoms may be affected. And as the verse goes in Bhagavad Gita 3:21, Yad yad acharti shreshthas tatta deve taro janaha. Sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So, the greater the position, more the responsibility that how one acts, behaves, what decisions they take, because lot of other people will be affected. Here, the entire universe, the three worlds are going to be affected very badly. So we can see here, I have also put it on the slide that Therefore, with time and maturity also, whatever level we are at, speaking for myself here, I feel very like sometimes awkward to discuss lessons because I am in my own journey as well. So therefore, with time and maturity, we need to develop better character and behave carefully. That's what's expected of us, and we can learn this from this episode as well. That Diti being a daughter of great person, wife of great person, when she made mistake, what happened. So, and also a lesson on lack of mind control. It only leads to inauspiciousness. So if one gives in to sense enjoyment and distractions, that will only bring more and more trouble. That's what Kashyapa Muni said. That's why he is saying that your sons will be demoniac, because children are born according to, it depends on the consciousness of parents at the time of conception, what was their mentality and consciousness. And even throughout the child's life, as he is growing up during that different stages, what is the parents' consciousness will have a lot of effect on the child's upbringing. There is also one more example of this. It will come in fifth canto. Second chapter, we will see first and second chapter about Priyavrat Maharaj. And he was also infatuated by lusty desires when his son Agnidhra was conceived. He is a great king, Priyavrata, but because of his wrong consciousness, the son that was conceived, what happened is that he did not inherit Priyavrata's Vaishnava or devotee qualities, but he aspired to go to higher planets for even more sense enjoyment, high degree enjoyment. So, because when he was conceived, also the consciousness was wrong. So, he wanted to worship Brahma, not Lord Vishnu. And he marries this heavenly damsel, Apsara, called Purvachiti, or her other name is Pramalocha. And after she has children, she leaves him and she goes back to Brahma's abode and Pitruloka. And later at death, even because Agnidra was still unsatisfied, he also goes and attains Pitruloka, and he follows where Purvachiti is in that same planet. So basically, I'm trying to say that consciousness of parents at birth and throughout child's life will affect child's growth, and also what kind of child is born. So also his past karma of that child and the consciousness of parents will match, and that's what will manifest accordingly. So in future, but because of Diti's repentance here, we will see in coming verses that Kashyapa Muni says to her that, okay, two demons will be born, but because you are repenting, you will have a grandson who will be a great, great devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. So because she repented, Prahlad Maharaj will be born as grandson to her. And so we will then discuss verse number 40. This is the last verse. प्राणिनां हन्यमानानां दीनानाम् अकृतागसां स्त्रीणां निगृह्यमाणानां कोपितेषु महात्मसु. They will kill poor, faultless living entities, torture women, and enrage the great souls. Okay, purport. Anyone wants to read? Okay, no one? No one wants to read, right? Okay, fine. Yeah, sorry, someone wants?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji.
Demoniac, sorry, it's too small for me. Just a minute. Hare Krishna. Demoniac activities are predominant when innocent, faultless living entities are killed. Women are tortured, and the great souls engaged in Krishna consciousness are enraged. In demoniac society, innocent animals are killed to satisfy the tongue, and women are tortured by unnecessary sexual indulgence. Where there are women and meat, there must be liquor and sex indulgence. When these are prominent in society. By God's grace, one can expect a change in the social order by the Lord Himself or by His bona fide representative. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shobna Mataji. So here we can see Srila Prabhupada says that they will kill poor, faultless living entities, torture women, and enrich the great souls. That's what these two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, will do. And we can see that when this happens, there is also a lesson here that when one offends great souls, one loses all the blessings one has attained. For example, we can see that there is example of Duryodhan, Ravana, Kamsa here. We can see Ravana offended. See, in universal history, it is filled with so many examples that these people offended or disrespected women, and they ended up in great trouble. Ravana offended Sita Devi, and his dynasty was destroyed. Duryodhan insulted Draupadi, and all his entire family, plus his 100 brothers, they all were destroyed. And Kamsa offended Devaki. So they were all destroyed along with their associates and dynasty. So no one has attained auspiciousness or prosperity in life by disrespecting either women, brahmanas, cows, old people, or children. So these five categories of people, they must be always protected. Women, brahmanas, cows, old people, and children, they should always be protected. They should not be offended, because if one does, then there is ill fortune for them. They cannot attract any auspiciousness in their life. And that is the one lesson here from verse number 40 also. There is one verse in 10th canto, 4th chapter, 46th verse. And here, as the 10th canto begins, it will describe the birth of Lord Krishna. And then towards this chapter, the atrocities of Kamsa comes. And there, this is the last verse of this fourth chapter, that the result of irresponsible actions, or what happens when one offends great souls. Ayushriyam yasho dharmam lokan ashisa evacha hanti shreyamsi sarvani pumso mahat atikramaha. Shukdev Goswami says to Parikshit Maharaj that, my dear king, when a man persecutes great souls, all his benedictions of one, longevity, beauty, fame, religion, blessings, and promotion to higher planets will be destroyed. So, Ayu, a duration of life, Shriyam, beauty, Yasha, fame, Dharmam, religion, Lokan, elevation to higher planets, Ashisaha, blessings. All these things are, and Shreyamsi, benedictions, all that they have gathered will be destroyed. And all this will happen if someone offends great souls. And here are the examples of that. So that is verse number 14. One more thing in this chapter is Kashyapa Muni. Kashyapa Muni, in this 14th chapter, we can see what has happened. And when we will come to 6th canto, 18th chapter, again Diti will go to Kashyapa Muni and desiring a son who will kill Indra. And that time we will see the response of Kashyapa Muni. There is a complete transformation in his consciousness. Like at this 14th chapter, he gives in to the demands of Diti, and obviously primarily it is Diti's mistake, but there is also weakness of heart there, and lack of sense control, self-control. But we cannot label one person based on one instance that this person is like this, because in their spiritual journey, with time, with so many services, with so much chanting, and with Pathanam and Shravanam, they will improve in their consciousness. Because when in 6.18 Diti will request Kashyapa, because both her sons were killed, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, by Lord Varaha and by Lord Narsingadev, And that happened because of the request of Indra. So now she wants to kill Indra. So with this wrong material desire and motive, she goes to Kashyapa and asks for a boon, having served him nicely to get an immortal son who will kill Indra. Because she says he killed both the sons, because at the end of the day she is a mother. Even though they are demons, they were her children. So as a mother, she wants to take revenge. But this time, Kashyapa did not give in. He did not become weak-hearted. He did not lose self-control. But he engages Diti in devotional service to Lord Vishnu for 1 full year in an austerity called Pumsa Vanavrata. And in that chapter, it is all described how she will do the vrata and what happens thereafter. And by this, even Diti's heart and Indra's heart both gets purified, because this is devotional service to Lord Vishnu. It always purifies the heart. By then, she completely lost that motive and that desire, everything. We know that words, right? What is the I haven't yeah, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udharati tivrena bhakti yogena yajete purusha param, right? So akama sarva kamova. If you have desire, also go to Vishnu. If you don't have any material desires, also worship Vishnu, because Krishna, he will purify our material desires. By the time, like even Dhruva, he got a darshan of Lord Vishnu. He said he was so happy he found a diamond. His desires were like broken pieces of glass. What is the point? He thought, now I got your darshan. I don't want any higher planet or higher position, or I don't want throne greater than my great grandfather Brahma or my father. I don't want anything that is material. I just want your worship, your bhakti. And he is so grateful to even his guru Narad Muni. It is not like he will see Lord Vishnu and forget. He is so full of gratitude that his mother and Narad Muni directed him to the Lord. So that's what devotional service does, Bhakti Yoga. That's why it is so purifying that now Kashyapa Muni engages Diti in devotional service, and thus not only her but even Indra's hearts get transformed. And so the lesson here is that if we just take one episode and label Kashyapa Muni as that, oh, such a great Prajapati, and he lost his control. No, we have to see the entire journey, that how even in our life that we can elevate in our consciousness with maturity, in our spiritual journey also with time. As long as we are sincere, we may not be perfect, but if we are sincere, then one day that stage will come. We just have to keep trying, because if we first of all accept that yes, there is a lot of scope for improvement, but I am very sincere and I want to get there, then Krishna will definitely reciprocate. By Guru's mercy, we will definitely get right direction and guidance. So that was one nice lesson here, that yes, there is a transformation in the consciousness of Kashyapa Muni from 3.14 to 6.18. And we should never judge people, we should not label them, but actually try and focus in our own journey and help others if we can. If we are at that stage where our Shraddha is not very, very strong enough, we can work on ourselves. And at the same time, because time is very short. Time is short, it's the human life, but time is very valuable, as Chanakya says. So that is all the verses here and the lessons and everything. I have a lot of things here actually. I was just thinking that just the theme here, basically, the previous verses and this verse is also Diti and Kashyapa's theme, that we saw that how Haridas Thakur's example is there. And also there is one example of, it will come in 24 Gurus in 11th canto, Pingala's lamentation. So Pingala is basically a prostitute, and she comes to this realization. She says, Asha hi paramam dukham, nairashyam paramam sukham, yatha sanchidya kanta sham, sukham susvapa Pingala. Material desire is undoubtedly the cause of greatest unhappiness, and freedom from such desire is the cause of the greatest happiness. Therefore, completely cutting off her desire to enjoy so-called lovers, Pingala very happily went to sleep. She says that all the material desires are the root cause of all the miseries. So long we will have material desires, even I was reading somewhere, even with one material desire, we will have to come back here. This journey will continue of birth and death cycle, even with one desire. So she happily goes to sleep thinking that this material desire is only the cause of all the problems. So let me give that up and actually take to Krishna consciousness. And there is also one analogy in fourth canto. Like you see, there is a lake, and around that lake, there will be lot of grass that grows on its bank, and it sucks up all the nutrition, all the water there. And similarly, our own consciousness becomes lost as a result of continually thinking of sense objects. I mean, that's what happened to Diti. For a short period, she lost all the good sense and even a good counsel she could not listen to, and even disrespecting Devatas and Lord Shiva. So what happens here like that? That the material desires will also be constantly thinking of sense objects. This is what even 2.61 and 2.62 we had discussed Bhagavad Gita, that when one is dhyayato vishyam pumsam, right? When we are focusing on sense objects and sense gratification, then all the intelligence is lost, and then all the stages come, anger and all the fall down comes. So because in I'm putting saying this because in verse 38 clearly Kashyapa Muni has said, we read that this is because of your mind's pollution all this started, that your mind is polluted. That is why we can see here by this what happens. There is also one nice analogy in 10, 20, 41. This is analogy of mud banks in autumn conserves water. So as opposed to this analogy of how good consciousness is sucked up by meditating on sense objects, whereas in here the practitioner of yoga brings their senses, how under control, under strict control to check their consciousness from flowing out through the agitated senses. Like the farmers, they erect strong mud banks to keep the water within their rice fields from draining out, because in monsoon lot of water will fall, and then when the autumn comes, because they have these mud banks, what happens is they keep the water inside only and thus preserves the water. So thus if we also have this kind of mud banks whereby our good consciousness does not pour out or get wasted, then we will not be getting sucked up in material objects. And Srila Prabhupada comments there that in autumn, farmers save the water within the fields by building strong walls so that the water contained within the field cannot run out. There is hardly any hope for new rainfall. Therefore, they want to save whatever is in the field. So they are saving the water. Similarly, a person who is actually advanced in self realization protects his energy by controlling the senses. Thus, he protects his Krishna consciousness by controlling his senses. That is the because it is like even till the end of life we have to bear this desires and senses will trouble us till the end of life, but one has to tolerate, because that is in Bhagavad Gita 2.59, vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Through the though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So the taste will remain, but one has to tolerate till the end of one's life and remain in Krishna consciousness. And also Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktirunchate. So one who is the controller of our senses is Rishikesha. So if we surrender to him, then he will definitely help us to overcome. Like this Vishaya Vinivartante, and also there is one more 7945, that the insignificant happiness of Grihamedis. There is this example of itching given in this Prahlad Maharaj prayers. Yanmai tunadi Grahamedi Sukham Hitucham Kanduyanena Karayoriva Dukha Dukham Trupyanti Neha Kripana Bahu Dukha Bhaja Kanduti Vishahet Dhira. So, this life full of sense enjoyments, it's like rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Grahmedis, or so called grahasthas, who have no spiritual knowledge. So, this is talking about those who are in complete ignorance. Think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it's a source of distress. We know that when one part of the body is itching, if we itch, then one needs to itch even more. Actually, you need medicine and to know the cause of that itching and find the right solution by going to doctor. But if you keep itching, it is also even contagious. It might spread to other parts of the body. So the Kripanas, the fools who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sense enjoyment. Those who are Dhira, however, are the sober and who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. So that's what I was saying here, that even if this thing will stay till the end of life, then one needs to tolerate it. And that's Vishaya Vinivartante verse as well there. So desires don't die even with the old age. And you have, yes, sorry, it was this Bhagavad Gita 5:23, that tolerate the urges till the last breath. Shaknoti haiva yashodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhinara. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses, and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. So we know like how when one there was very old man. I heard this story somewhere, and so someone is asking how you can say that even till one is till the last breath one will have desires and sense enjoyment. So this person who's asking this question to meet a very old man who is very sick, and they go with this person's very beautiful young daughter. So when they go to meet this old man to see how he is, all the time while talking to them, he is looking at the young girl who is so beautiful. So you can see that even till the last breath, one has to tolerate the urges of the material senses. And that's the only way. And one who can do that, he is well situated and is happy in this world. And in the ninth canto, there are many verses on this theme. It is the Yayati's episode in the 19th chapter. So I had put all these verses together. That a person who has lust has no satisfaction, and lust is something which is insatiable, and non envy and equanimity give satisfaction, and thus one can it's understands the truth of life, then he can overcome this by Krishna consciousness, as even Srila Prabhupada has said. And there is also one more thing, like how this verse says 523, tolerate urges till the last breath. And Haridas Thakur is chanting so many holy names a day. That is also the way chanting. And another way is taking darshan of the Lord, getting attracted to Krishna. Like our material desires can be diverted to spiritual desires, wanting Krishna. Because this verse clearly says, Hasam Hare Ravanata Khila Lokatibra Shoka Srusagar Vishoshana Matyudaram Sammohanaya Rachitam Nijamaya Yasya Bhrumandalam Munikrute Makaradvajasya. This verse will come in Kapila Muni's teachings when it is talking about how we should focus on all the parts of the body of Lord Krishna and all the different effects, like his lotus feet, his navel, his calf, his arms, his legs, eyes, eyebrows. So here it says yogi should meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Hari, and those who bow to him, it will dry up all their lamentation and tears. And thus, if one meditates on the beautiful eyebrows of the Lord, and the glances that Lord's glances, merciful glances fall on us. So basically, eyebrows are compared to bow, and the eyes from where all the arrows are coming on us, from these eyes, beautiful smile and glances are coming from Krishna. So when we get attracted to this, then Cupid will not trouble us or not bother us, because Vishaya Vinivartante, like higher taste is here. We have now got Krishna. So then there is no place for Cupid there. That's what this verse says. That, so I thought that was very beautiful verse there. And these are all, so there is like problems are there and solutions are also there if you look in the scriptures. So that is desires, minds pollution, and the chanting of the holy names is the solution. And there the example was there of Haridas Thakur, and how one can protect oneself from Maya. And all the problems are there. We know Bhagavad Gita verses we discussed, and Prahlad Maharaj's prayer, material desires are like itching sensation. And oh yes, 10 effects of Cupid. I mean, there is also one verse there, which is in 10:40 to 14. And the solutions are, I lost the slide. Solutions are in these verses chanting. We saw the example of Pingala, also the mud banks analogy, how to focus and how to conserve our Krishna consciousness, and Krishna's benevolent smile and his glances protect us. 523 says, tolerate the urges till the end of life. Yayati's realization that there is no satiation of loss. So give it up by Krishna consciousness. And there is a verse, if I find the slide, because it's time now. But yes, there are 10 effects of Cupid. Chakshuraga. See, first comes attraction expressed through the eyes, then intense attachment in the mind, determination, loss of sleep, becoming emaciated, disinterest in external things, shamelessness, madness, becoming stunned, and finally death. These are the dangerous effects of Cupid. And these are the 10 stages of Cupid's effects. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he says, that devotees who possess pure love of God generally do not exhibit the symptom of death. Okay, so all these things can be applied, same effects, if we love Krishna. That first we get attracted by Krishna, and then we have intense attachment to Krishna in our mind. Then we become determined to do our sadhana. Loss of sleep, okay, wake up very early for Mangal Aarti, and becoming emaciated, okay, means sense control, which is good. We will not overeat, not oversleep, all these things, cleanliness, all the good qualities, samanitvam, adambhitvam, trinadapi suniche, and all this will follow. And disinterest in external things, yes. And then we will be so overwhelmed in devotional ecstasy. So madness in that sense, becoming stunned when we take darshan of beautiful Krishna. And when we go to take darshan, Radha Gokulananda looks so beautiful. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the last thing, death, does not occur in devotee's case. That effect will not happen. But all these effects of Cupid can be applied in devotional service if we take to Krishna consciousness. So we can spiritualize our karma this way. So that was one thing. So yes, thank you so much. Sorry, I have taken few minutes extra. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Please forgive my mistakes if I made any. And thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Any
Hare
comments?
Krishna, Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Gopal.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.